Welcome to Have a Happy Arty Time. My name's Janette and I'm back with part 3 of using our charcoal on the Gelli Plate. This time we're going to be doing a beautiful bird. So let's begin. Okay, so let's get our little piece of willow charcoal again. And I'm just going to go over the outlines of this one to start with. Okay, now I just want to do a little bit of shading lightly over here, just very lightly. Alrighty, so we've got this now. I'm going to place it on the gel plate, roughly about there. Nice, press down. Let's see. Oh, it's beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? What's left behind? That even looks really good. It's changed it somehow. It looks really good. I love it. Okay, look at this. Here we go. So I can see where I didn't add his little head on properly there, but now I'm going to get my acrylic paints using some orange and some browns and some raw sienna and a little bit of blue or grey at the back, so that should look nice. And I'm just going to gently paint this up on the plate. Tiniest little bit of this. I've run out of this one, but very light. There'll be enough in here. There's a little bit of orange up into here. A little bit of raw sienna. Okay, so along here. A little bit of mocha. And then some bright orange. Some very dark raw umber. And of course we've got his little eye. I'll just put in that eye. Okay, and we've got some grey in our leaves, I think, so I'm going to get some grey. So I think also I'll make a olivey green. Here we go, here's a dark sort of green. And it's sort of a grey day for this little fella, I think. We'll make it a grey day. A little bit of grey and a little bit of blue. Just mix the two. See what we get. Can't do anything till this is dry, silly me. Okay, piece of cardboard. I like to add my highlights when I've pulled the print and see what we need to do. Bring this down here. Get this one on. And I'm thinking this one's definitely going under the heavy book for 10 minutes and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. We'll take these heavy books off, see what we get here. Okay, lovely. I can use that for something, so I'll put it in my stash. Okay, here we go. Ready to lift this one? And this is just beautiful. So I'm going to be adding some white highlights. I'm just loving this. I love the distressed look. I love the grunginess. The charcoal is just so sweet on there. A little bit of colour, and when I add some white, it's going to be spot on. Here, ready now to add some of my white highlights. So I don't want to do too much to this. A little bit of water in the acrylic paint. Mix that around. Okay, and there's a little bit of white here. I'll smooth it out later. Just get those little bits in here. Now I'm just going to wet my charcoal pencil in a little bit of water and reinstate a few charcoal black lines. Okay, and I might add a little bit of coloured charcoal when I purchase some, which will be today hopefully, and I will get back to this and just add a little bit more coloured charcoal on top. So I'd like to start on this bird image now. I have the line drawing and I've just drawn over it in charcoal with a hard charcoal pencil. So there's two ways we can do this. We can either draw straight on the image, or I like to use my baking paper and simply trace the image, which works out really well as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of colour. I found these charcoal pencils and I've got two colours inside of here. There's sanguine and there's also sepia. So I'm going to use them to put a little bit of colour in, add a little bit of brown in there as well. And I've got a little bit of this sanguine here, which makes a nice orangey colour, which is what this little bird has a lot of. Rightio, so here we go. We just place that on here. And we'll pull this back and see, yes, it has transferred, and it's transferred really well. Loving this. Okay, so I'm going to be using a couple of my roll-off sheets here, just little bits and pieces, and I'm going to pick this print up. I'm going to use this one first, see how I go. So just putting my little piece of border around here, give me a nice little area to work with, and I can see here that I go off the border and I want to place that down, so I'm going to do this one first. So just going to pull this print using a little bit of the matte medium. So just put a few drops down here. Okay, so we got it to there. Just give it a little bit more of a rub. Let's see if it's going to pick up anything more. And I'm very, very happy with this. So I can see this is going to work for me. I'm loving the sanguine. Everything's pulled up really great. And I'm going to go again. And this time I'll be using my baking paper just to trace over. Okay, so I've traced over my image onto my baking paper. So I have my other image here. Just take that off. So that's the line drawing that I was using. And this is my baking paper image here. So I'm happy with this, and I'm going to now transfer this onto the jelly plate. The great thing about using the baking paper is you can see through it, so you know where you can place things. It's a lot of fun. So again, I'm going to be using the Liquitex acrylic medium to lift this one, and I'm just going to first of all place this down on the jelly plate. Okay, very good. Okay, let's have a look and see if we have succeeded in leaving this behind. Yes, it's just coming out beautifully. I love these charcoal pencils, just wonderful. So here's our image. Now this time I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to use some different colors on here. Just going to use my little thin roller. I'm going to put some green where there's a bit of green. I'm going to put a little bit of blue where the water is, and I'm going to do a little bit of sky and leave the bird how it is. Just put a bit of clear over that, or a little bit of white over there. So I'm just going to have a play around and see what we get and pull this print. I'm going to put a tiny bit of the brown in here, just very lightly. I'm not wanting to get it on the bird. I'm wanting my little white bird here, if that's a possibility. Tiny hints of the green. Move that along, and a little bit of the blue. So I'm just going to add a little bit of grey down here, pop a little bit of that blue up in the sky, and just take a little bit of the white over there. So probably going to make a mess of it, but let's see how we go. Now I'm going to start with my white. And let's see if we can pull the print. So I can see it working there. Just go up this way. I'm really actually loving that. Not sure whether to put another layer of the matte medium down below so that I can capture just a little bit more. Very interesting. Okay, so I've got that there. I'm just going to use my tape to register this best I can. And I'm loving the different bits and pieces of colouring here, but I would like to get a little bit more of this bird on this side. May not be possible, not sure. So in here, I'd like to pick a little bit more up. So just a tiny bit of our clear, and see if that's going to do the job. So a little bit of the clear just over here. And see what we get. Put that down here. Are we going to get any more of this? And yes, we succeeded. So we can do lots to it if we want to. We can colour in our leaves. We can add more into our water. Probably use a bit of watercolour in there, I think. Just lovely. So I'm really looking forward to my actual coloured charcoal pencils coming. I have to order them yet. And I was able to get the cheap Montmartre set that just had the 2 sanguine and the 2 sepia and the 2 white along with black, and that's just made this beautiful. But I am looking forward to actually colouring in and doing a lot more with charcoal on the jelly plate. So loving this. So here are my images. This is our drawing, and I'm just going to touch this up a little bit with a tiny bit of watercolour. I don't want to do too much. I just want to leave it basically how it is in a sense. So I'm just going to get our watercolour. I'll fast forward this, and I'm just going to bring these up as I've mentioned. Now I have my charcoal pencils again. I'm just going to put some sepia on this. I've wet the little areas. Hopefully it's still a bit wet, and that'll allow me to put the sepia charcoal in and have it fix into that. If I need to add a little bit of water on my charcoal, I can do that. A little bit of water here. Okay, so I think I'm very happy with this. Let's try to get a little bit of a darker part in here. Okay, lovely. So very happy with this one. Put a little bit up here. I'm not drawing around these perfectly in any way. I'm just putting in some lights and some darks. There we go. So very interesting. I'm loving these different effects. Now I come back into this little fella, and part of me wishes I'd never added any watercolour. However, I've got my sepia charcoal here now. Still a little bit of water there. And I'm just going to add this colour in here. I need to sharpen my pencil, which I will do, my charcoal, but I'm just going to add a little bit more water, swap over with the sanguine, and just add a little bits. Just using a scrap of paper, just lighten that down a little bit. Using my white gel pen now to add some highlights. Okay, isn't it amazing how just a little bit of white or a little bit of black or a little bit of a certain colour can just bring something up so much better. And when we look at these, we can see, again, we have many options. And it's really just up to your own artistic flair here. We've used the charcoal on the Gelli Plate. We've used a little bit of watercolour in some. And then we've gone back in and wet areas and placed our charcoal back on top. And I think basically we have something really good. So I'm just going to get a little pen here, little black one, and just put something around this little fella's eye. Just in there like that, which makes that a lot better. This one here, use a tiny brush with a little bit of white gouache. Okay, a bit more of a dot in here. Alrighty, so here's a couple of examples of what we can do with our charcoal on the Gelli Plate. And I'm going to go ahead and do some others. But I just love this. Very different. We can use them for all sorts of different things. So I hope you have a happy arty time. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe. Bye for now.